Hi, my name is Becca. Welcome back to Raising Them Simply. Here we share all about our secular homeschool as a family of 5. Today we're going to chat again about next year, 2025-2026 school year. First things, disclaimer, if my voice sounds a little rough, I had a tonsillectomy and adenoidectomy about a week and a half ago. I'm feeling okay, just a scratchy throat. But we're gonna push through this. The reason why we're gonna talk about this again, I got overzealous, just being honest, about next year, and I thought I had everything set in stone. There were some things that I had talked about. I know we talked about in my last video I made for curriculum picks that I wasn't quite sure about science, but there's some other things too that we have added on into our homeschool, and I wanted to make a new video to update you guys on exactly what we're going to be doing. There was also a change that we made for our spelling, so we will get into all of that today. Next year I will have a second grader and a preschooler. So first, for the preschooler, we are doing preschool math at home. This is by Kate Snow. She's the same author from Math with Confidence. We love her program. This is just kind of an outline guide for me on introducing math to kids. So we are going through this. We're just kind of going at our own pace, and we'll see where we end up. She will be 4 in November, so I'm not pushing anything. We're just kind of going at our own pace here. If she does finish this and we feel like she's ready at some point next year, I did find this on Facebook Marketplace, the kindergarten level of Math with Confidence. Facebook Marketplace has tons of great resources, by the way, for curriculum. Someone had only used the first couple pages of this and then didn't use anything else, and it was all in pencil. So I got it for a fraction of the price, and I just have to do some erasing. So we've got this if and when she's ready to do it. Again, no rush. It's just there when we need it. We are an all about reading household here. If you're not new here, then you know that, but we have already been going through the pre-reading level of all about reading. If I feel like she needs more review, we'll just do this all over again. She loves it. It's great. We'll just buy the new student workbook sheet. If she is ready, we have level 1 that's already been prepped and ready that my son is almost done with, and we'll move on to that whenever we feel like she's good for that. That's pretty much all I have planned for my preschooler. Now, of course, she's going to be sitting in on some things. I have some worksheet things that I'll pull out here in a little bit to show you. But I don't do any formal kind of stuff with preschool. They just learn through life. So the main reason why she even has any curriculum is that she was obsessed with the fact that her brother did school and she didn't. And I'm just going to follow the cues of my child. So next up, so the main curriculum that we are using next year is still Build Your Library. So we're going to be doing the pre-history unit first, and we are year-round homeschoolers, so we will just dive into this unit study whenever we finish up our school for this year, our history that we're doing. And then we will jump into level 1, the ancient world. If you're not familiar with Build Your Library, it's a multi-curriculum. So it has history, literature, art, and science involved in here. Of course, you don't have to do all of those aspects. You can build on whatever you would like to, or just omit altogether. It does do like copy work and stuff like that too, built into the curriculum. Now, the main kind of thing that I heard that I mentioned in my previous video too, the main critique about this curriculum was the nature study component. How it was very lax, kind of repetitive. She has 2 different books that you kind of go through for the nature study. And all it says built into the curriculum is do this page on this depending on what season you're in. So she didn't physically schedule anything in here because depending on your climate, where you live, right, or when you start the curriculum even, she didn't want to schedule a summer thing if you were doing this and in that section you were going to be in the winter or whatever. So it was just it's pretty loose that way. The main kind of stuff that I get for when it comes to Build Your Library is from Homeschool Together podcast. If you have not listened to their videos, you really should. I'll link them down below. They're great. But when they did Ancients, they only did a couple weeks of their nature study, and then they just dropped it all together. And so I was kind of thinking that maybe we'll do some experiment kits, which we like to do, or stuff like that. But I actually really wanted to do some sort of more of like a formal nature study, not just for my son, but we're doing 1,000 hours outside, so we're getting a lot of time outside. And then we've got my preschooler who is learning about all that stuff too. And so I wanted something more structured. So I went ahead on Etsy and I found this is called the Seasons Nature Journal. I haven't bound this yet, but this is from Raising Wild Things on Etsy. I'm actually working with the creator right now to get a discount code for you guys, so watch out for that when I do my formal flip through. But this is an amazing, this is exactly what I wanted. This is a nature style journal for all the seasons. They've got beautiful pictures in here that you can do watercolor. They talk about bird anatomy and the life cycle of a bird and how to identify different birds by their eggs. They've got coastal and wetland birds for their summer section. We've got stuff on Luna moths. I mean, it's just, I really am in love with this, and this is exactly kind of what I was looking for. The art that comes with Build Your Library is more of like a artist study where you're looking at paintings and you're talking about artists, which didn't bother me at all because my son is obsessed with all things art. My kids, both of them really, they're constantly doing something artistic all day long. So I wasn't really concerned about doing like a formal art curriculum with them, but this checks that box too. I'm just really pleased with this, and I'm glad that I found this. And stay tuned for a flip through on that. Kind of going with that, I had mentioned in my previous video too that, or in one of my previous videos, that we kind of went overboard for kindergarten when we first started homeschool. And there was all these different extra studies and stuff that I had purchased. And one of those was, when I was looking through our records, one of them was this life science, kinder science. I will link anything down below, by the way, but this one is from Teachers Pay Teachers. And I bought a science pack. I believe there was 5 different sciences. So like life science, earth science, physical science. I'm not sure the other ones, but I have this, so I thought I would print it off, and this would be for my preschooler, because it just has a lot of fun like cutout things that she can do. It talks about the water cycle. I made a separate one for her with her pages so that she can feel special. So we've got different worksheets for living versus non-living things, the different parts of a flower. So just fun little worksheet stuff. My daughter really enjoys stuff like this. Plants versus animals. She can cut these and glue them in the right categories. What animals live in what climate, that kind of thing. She doesn't have to do any of this. I just thought while I was preparing the curriculum for next year, I'll get this ready. If she's wanting something to do with school, she could do something like this if she wants to. Something that I also wanted to add kind of with the climate and nature study and stuff like that was I realized that I wanted to do more like emergency type stuff with my kids. So I found this unit study for weather and natural disasters. I believe this one was also on Etsy. But it talks about weather, some different things that can happen during weather, the changes of the weather and the seasons, and why does it change. Talk about different natural disasters like fire, hurricanes, how they impact people, floods, stuff like that. My thought process is that I want to, probably in the winter when things are a little slower here in Minnesota as far as nature study goes, excuse me, I'll probably pull this out around then to kind of go through with my kids. And we will talk about different things that impact us specifically here in the Midwest in Minnesota. But we'll also kind of go through some preparedness stuff, like what happens if the smoke alarms go off, you know, how to touch the door to feel if there's a fire on the other side, how to put like a sheet out your window if there is a fire in there, you know, crawling out, how to meet at the corner, how to call 911 or emergency services. And then we'll kind of meet with like at our local police station, fire station about those kind of things. So my son does get a lot of this already because he is in Scouts, but I thought it was a good time, and my son will be turning 7 in August. I felt that this would be a good time to have some of those conversations with him just on how to be prepared. So we've got this, like I said, we'll probably go through this at some time in the winter when things are just a little slower. Okay, so next we are going to talk about kind of like some, we're going to talk extra things. We're kind of, when I was going through with the natural disasters, is that there's different conversations that are coming up in her daily life that I feel like would benefit from having a set time or having it more into our routine to talk about some things. So like I had mentioned, some of these things, I was looking through our records on things that we already had, and we have this one on economics. This is one of those unit things that I had purchased on Teachers Pay Teachers. We did already go through this, but my son was quite young and we can always use a review. And this is pretty much talking about what are goods, what are services, what's a product, talking about saving money and things like that. My son's getting to that age where he's asking for money to do things. And we've had conversations where, at least in our family, there are things that are expected of you as being part of the family. I'm not going to pay my child to clean their room, for example, because I don't get paid to clean my room. That's just something that we need to do to take care of our house. But if my son wanted to do something extra, like picking up rocks or sticks in the yard, for example, or if he wanted to clean out the car, that would be something that I'd be willing to pay him for to do. So that he can get some of the things that he wanted, and so that he could learn to save for certain things. So because we already had this, what I'm thinking is that with all of these things I'm going to talk about here is I'm going to have some sort of basket, and maybe a couple times a week, while the kids are eating snack or lunch or something, instead of reading one of our read alouds for one of our structured curriculum or something, we'll go through something like this, and it'll be just some extra learning stuff that he can do, and it would be a good refresher, a good chance for him to learn about those things. Another thing that I got here is kind of more on like character building, is I got this Inspiring Stories for Brilliant Boys, and this is by Ivy Boyd, and it just says, a motivational book about self-confidence, friendship, courage for young readers. And it's to unveil the strength and spirit of boys who amidst life's trials shine brilliantly. I feel like, especially in today's culture, there's a lot of negative things that are said about boys and not a whole lot of positives, which really makes me sad as a boy mom. I want to instill confidence in my son, in himself, and to know that he's a good kid and he can make good choices. And even if people around him aren't making those same good choices, he can still do that. We've got a lot of these character building books. I've actually made a video about some of those that we have. I'll link them. But I was thinking of adding this. I might collect a couple more like this throughout the year. And I'll take all of the character building type books that we have on our bookshelf already and kind of put in the basket. And my son could just pick one or two that he wants to read and we'll go through. This one, I might even save for like a bedtime story type thing where it's just me and him. But he does like reading his chapter books and we save that for nighttime. So I'm not sure how we'll structure this, but I really want to do some more like positive character building stuff with him. So we've got this to go with. And then we've got this logic workbook for gritty kids. I just got this off of Amazon. And the way that we have our school day set up is my preschooler does her school first with me, while my son does some worksheet type stuff for school. This will be something that we will add because he's really flying through his school and stuff like that right now. But these are just some fun puzzle games and stuff that my son would really like circle which shadow is correct, circle the same two pictures, you know, drawing, matching the figure on the left with the blocks used to make on the right, match the side view. So just like logic workbook things. Got some more games here too that get more advanced. And I thought that he could just do a couple of these. If he's done all his other worksheets and he wants something else, he could do something like this while I'm working with my preschooler. I've also got this anger management workbook for kids. Now, I don't talk too much about my kids' specific things on here for their safety and just to respect them as people. But my son has come up to me specifically and said that he would like more help on how to help with when he gets mad about certain things, which one made my heart so happy that he felt comfortable coming to me and talking to me about that, but also made me really sad that he feels that way. So this has 50 fun activities to help children stay calm and make better choices when they feel mad. And kind of with this personal development and stuff like that, I felt like this would be something good for us to go through together for like emotional health and all that. So this is what anger does, what happens in your brain and body when you feel angry, how to decode your anger, your urges, what are some consequences of acting out, how to look out for anger, things like that. Again, this might be something that we do at like a bedtime where it's more specifically just me and him, or it'll be something that we go through during school. This is totally an extra thing, guys. So all these little things right now are extra. So it's nothing that I'm going to feel like we have to complete during the year or anything like that. They're just helpful things. So this other thing that we got is from Big Life Journal. It's Sharing Joy Family Conversation cards. And I thought this would just be really fun. It says to unbox the magic of special family moments, create moments that matter and memories that last. Uncover the joy of really knowing each other with playful and thought-provoking questions. This might be something that we do together at like dinner time and we're all sitting together and eating, or it might go in that bin, but these cards just have little conversation stuff in there. And silly little questions that we could all talk about. So I thought this would be really fun. They also have different journals and stuff. So like I actually purchased recently a gratitude journal from them. I also have another journal that I purchased that is not here yet, that is for a mother and son to go through together. So they're on Instagram. They're great. I can link them down below as well. But we've got these little cards. I just thought it would be fun for us to go through as a family. As far as like a handicraft thing, my son wants to do wool felting. So we got these Wool Buddy needle felting kits. This one is for dinosaurs, and then got one for farm animals. I'm gonna do the farm animal one. My son will do the dinosaur one. Or maybe vice versa. I'm noticing that these are from the same company, and the farm animals is 8+ and the dinosaurs is 12+. I'm not sure if that's just because of the it's more complex to make a dinosaur, but we'll figure it out together. My son is going to be doing this with me, guys. I will be right there. He will be safe. He will be he's very, very excited about these, and he's been asking to do them constantly ever since they got mailed in. So excited to do that with him. Okay, so that extra stuff is all out of the way. Now, when it comes to math, like I said, we do math with confidence here. So we've got the 2nd grade math with confidence. And we will just move on into this as soon as we're done with 1st grade. Like I said, we do homeschool year round here. But I do try to take like a good couple week break before we level up for the next grade. But if it's going to be quite a bit of time between when we finish 1st grade before we level up for everything else, then we will start this a little earlier. For reading, we do all about reading here. Like I mentioned, so we've got level 2 here. I still have to prepare the student workbook for this. I have a plan on doing an upcoming video on how I do that to save the student workbook and make it more open and go, and so that I can reuse it for other kids. So if that is something you're interested in, just stay tuned for that, because that will be coming up eventually here. So we're doing all about reading level 2, still loving that great. And then we do explode the code. So when I did my 1st grade curriculum haul, you saw I bought a bundle of these. We're just about to finish the 1st workbook. At the beginning of the 1st grade year, reading was like a struggle, and that hasn't been a secret here on my channel. I've talked about that quite extensively, but we're just getting to the point now where we can do math and reading in the same day. And that's how it's been for the last like maybe 4 or 5 months now. So there were days where we wouldn't do all about reading, but we would do a worksheet, and vice versa. And then the other day we would do math. And my son's capacity has grown greatly since he's gotten more confidence with reading. And so when we start our day while my daughter's doing preschool, my son does 2 worksheets. So I'm actually quite confident he'll probably get through these by the end of his 1st grade year. So we've got these worksheets for him to do. And I know that we just did a video on this channel about spelling and how we were using level 1 all about spelling. I still think it's a great curriculum. It does the job. But my son came up to me specifically and asked if we could do something different for spelling. I think it was really boring for him. And really repetitive. And so we decided that we were going to go with something different. So we are actually going to be starting Spelling UC. I do not have the physical copy here with me yet, but I will do a video for you guys on that upcoming. I think that is going to be a better fit for my son. My son I think if I were to do something traditional, like in public school, where we had a list of words and he had to write them down repeatedly and we would have the test at the end of the week, that would be something that he would like. However, I don't want him to just memorize and regurgitate the words that he's learning. I want my son to really retain the information. And he's getting frustrated with the all about spelling, he said, because with all about spelling, it was moving too slow for him and he just wanted to spell things. And so Spelling UC is set up in a way where he is constantly writing things down in the process of learning to spell. And I think that that's going to work better for his brain than the all about spelling curriculum was. So we are going to move forward with that. And we will just start that whenever it gets here and we get it set up for him. And if we need to move up to the next level during the middle of the school year, we'll do that at that time. But we are switching over to spelling UC. Okay, you guys still with me? We got one more thing. I completely missed our language in the last video, and I made a pinned comment on that video, and I couldn't believe that I forgot about it. But my son wanted to learn a language, and in the curriculum hall for first grade picks, I mentioned I had a sign language book. I did sign language in college and high school. I was actually planning on becoming an interpreter and ended up becoming a nurse instead. But I really did a lot of sign language with my kids when they were babies, and I wanted to get it in the groove of doing more formal sign language during the day and really teaching them more sign language. My son is not a visual learner that way. He just has no interest in sign language. And so there is a company called Homeschool Languages. They have several different languages available. I believe it's Spanish, French, Portuguese, German, Spanish, French, Portuguese, German, and one other one, I think. I believe they also have a sign language one upcoming. But this is a homeschool curriculum that's meant for parents to teach languages to their kids, even if they themselves don't know the language. And I thought that this was a really interesting concept, and they have fun games and books and stuff like that. And I was really intrigued with this. And so what I did was I looked up the languages that they had, and I asked my son, and I said, so are you interested in learning a language? And he said yes. He thought that that would be cool. And I listed the languages for him, and he said he wanted to hear some examples of what those languages sounded like. So I just typed in on YouTube different conversation in Portuguese and Spanish and French, you know, all the things. And he really liked and thought that German sounded really cool. And our heritage is also German. My kids are actually very, very German. When you combine me and my husband together, they're like 87% German, it turns out. And so my son, when he heard about that, he thought it was the coolest thing ever. And he just goes, well, then I have to learn German. So we have been doing Duolingo for the last probably 4 or 5 months. And that's not something he can really do because he can't read and keep up with the app. But it's something that I've been able to do. And we do that together every night before bed. And we go through different words together. And he loves it. So I went ahead and purchased the German set for homeschool languages. They are on back order, so it's not going to be shipped until June. But I'm so very excited about it. My son is thrilled. I can't wait to do an unboxing video with you guys. There's all this information on YouTube on Spanish, the Spanish boxes, but nothing hardly about the German. And the few that I did find, they started the language and then it kind of fizzled out. So there's not a lot of information on it. So I do plan on going through that with you guys so that you guys can be updated on that. But now that is everything for school next year. Thank you for sticking through it this long if you watched the whole video. But now that is officially everything that we are doing for school for next year. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're doing for school next year. What you're excited about for year-round homeschoolers or traditional schooling and you take a long break, let me know. Please hit that subscribe button. It is a free way to help support my channel and for you to be notified of future videos. And I can't wait to get you guys next time. Bye.